The NASCAR Cup Series race officially concluded from Phoenix Raceway, and we see some wild racing, some big crashes, and a pretty exciting finish to the end of the NASCAR Cup race at Phoenix. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. I just got done watching the NASCAR Cup race from Phoenix, so Shriners Children 500. We had quite a bit to talk about from this race. Let's go and talk about it. So before the green flag drop in today's race, we see Michael McDowell would have to go to the rear of the field for unapproved adjustments. So at the start of the race, he had William Byron and Joey Logano start on the front row, with Joey Logano and William Byron battling really hard for the race lead, and Logano would lead lap number 1, but eventually William Byron was able to clear Joey Logano for the race lead. Then on lap number 5, the first caution race come out when Kathleen Lake spun in turn number 2, just lost it off the corner and spun off the exit of turn number 2, just a bad mistake on her part. Of course, she was making her NASCAR Cup Series debut. She, unfortunately, her chances wouldn't be over, but she was able to not get any damage. So during this caution, Chase Briscoe, Alex Bowman, they would make their way down pit road, but they would not put on the option tires. And then we go back racing with William Byron leading the field from the inside with Joey Logano on the outside. And Joey Logano got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the lead. And then the first big incident would take place down the back straightaway in lap number 10 when Noah Gragson made contact with Cole Custer. They were 4 wide on the inside coming down the pit road area. He would come up the track and get in the Ricky Stenhouse Jr., bringing out the caution. Just a big mistake there by Noah Gragson. A little bit too over-aggressive there on the corner. Unfortunately, it would cause an incident right there. Just a bad mistake on his part. And then we see a lot of cars come down pit road. Todd Gillen, Ryan Preece, Riley Herbst, Cody Ware, Cole Custer, and Ryan Preece would be the first driver to put on the option red tires. So then on the restart, you had Joey Logano lead the field from the inside with William Byron on the outside, and Joey Logano got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the lead. However, a couple laps later, they review the restart, and Joey Logano would receive a penalty. Logano got a penalty because he went below the yellow line before the restart. When you take a look at the replay, it was really, really close. I'll say it was kind of borderline if you ask me. But NASCAR said in the past, they don't want you putting any part of your car, even if it's a millimeter of the car. If you're below that line, you're basically going to get a massive penalty. So tough break for Logano there, and I feel for Logano in that situation, but I guess rules are rules. I think it's controversial, but I guess our rules are rules. Because of that, Logano would have to come down pit road and serve the penalty, and William Byron would have the race lead. Meanwhile, you would have Ryan Preece charging his way all the way up to the front, and this is probably the most interesting part of stage number 1, as Ryan Preece is charging his way up to the front and got up to 4th position, but started to show a little bit of slower lap times. Eventually, Ryan Preece got by Josh Berry and moved up to 3rd. And then Ryan Preece started losing a little bit of ground and was catching William Byron and Tyler Reddick, but would run out of time, and William Byron would come off the corner and win stage number 1. And then all leaders would come down pit road with, I believe, William Byron winning the race off of pit road, and on the next restart, which, by the way, Ross Chastain would come down pit road to switch onto the option tires after penalty. There were a couple cars, I believe, that took the option tire. Shane Van Gisbergen was one of them. I believe a couple guys in the back took it, like Joey Logano, I believe, took the option tire. I believe a couple other in the back, like Ross Chastain, Daniel Suarez, all those guys would go ahead and take the option tire. And then on the restart, you had William Byron lead the field from the inside with Tyler Reddick on the outside. And William Byron got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the race lead. Meanwhile, Austin Cindric was the highest up front of the guys that were on the option tires. Meanwhile, Christopher Bell, he was starting to charge his way up to the front and moved up to 2nd position. The option tire cars, though, were starting to come. Eventually, on lap point in 89, Austin Cindric got a really good run on William Byron. He was able to take the race lead from William Byron on lap 89. But then a couple laps later, the next caution race come out for Michael McDowell. Michael McDowell had a flat tire, locked it up, and had a flat tire. Would hit the outside wall really, really hard, getting out a ton of damage, and I think would end up going to the garage because of that. That would take him out of contention. So then, on the next restart, you had Christopher Bell lead the field from the inside, William Byron on the outside, and Christopher Bell got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the lead. But the biggest crash of the day would take place, and one of the biggest crashes we've seen in Phoenix history would happen going down the back straightaway. There's a bunch of cars that checked up. Ty Gibbs moved up the racetrack, and Justin Ely would have the wheels of Chase Briscoe on the side of his car. They would end up getting clicked, and Carson Osbar, Noah Gragson, Brad Keselowski, Todd Gillen, Riley Herbst, Cole Custer, and Shane Van Gisbergen Gisbergen all had nowhere to go, and they all got a ton of damage. Most of those cars' days would come to an end. Noah Gragson was able to continue, but SVG, Cole Custer, Todd Gillen, Brad Keselowski, most of those guys' day would come to an end. Just a mistake there a little bit by Ty Gibbs. Just a squeeze situation. That's what happens when you have a track like Phoenix where you have the dog leg the way that it is. Tough break for all those guys after a great run. It seemed like a couple of those guys were starting to charge their way up to the front. Like Carson was running pretty solid early in the event, but it took out two of the Spire cars as well. So then on the restart, you would have Cristobal lead the field from the inside with William Byron on the outside, and Cristobal got a really great restart and was able to clear for the race lead. Meanwhile, Joe Logano was starting to charge his way up to the front because he had the option tires on. He was coming up to the front and would move up to second position. And then a little bit later with Cristobal leading, Joe Logano caught up to Cristobal in the middle portion of the stage number 2 and was able to pass him for the race lead. And Joe Logano was starting to pull away very, very quickly because he had the fresher tires on. But as the run continued on, we saw Michael McDowell have major trouble, and he basically had a car slow in turn number 2. Basically similar situation what happened earlier in the event. Eventually, though, Cristobal was catching him. The tires were starting to wear out very quickly, and Cristobal was clearly running down Joe Logano as the run progressed and went on. And eventually, with about 5 laps to go in the stage, Cristobal got a really good run on Joe Logano and was able to take the race lead. He would start pulling away by about 4 or 5 seconds, and coming out the final corner, Cristobal would dominate and win stage number 2. Then, all lead lap cars would then come down pit road, with Joe Logano winning the race off pit road, followed by Christopher Bell. Most cars would switch to the option tires, with Logano using his second and final set, and a few guys like Gragson, Dillon, Nemechek, and Ware did not use the option tires. So then on the restart, you had Joe Logano lead the field from the inside with Christopher Bell on the outside, and Joe Logano got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the lead, with Tyler Reddick moving up to second position as Logano started pulling away. But the moment of the race that would change everything happened with about 85 laps to go. When Catherine Lang spun off of turn number 2, getting lapped by Josh Berry, she would go up in the racetrack and just spin herself, and Daniel Suarez had nowhere to go and got collected in it. Look, I was really happy to see Catherine Lang make her NASCAR Cup debut. You can't defend this one. This is definitely on her 100%. Just a major mistake on her part. Tough break there for Daniel Suarez, who in my opinion was doing a really good job. Yes, he was up there because of the option tire, but still, I do think that I feel bad for Suarez because he was doing a really good job. Tough break for Suarez. His bad start to the season continues. Just a bad mistake on Catherine Lang's part. I'm not sure what her future is going to be in NASCAR because I'm not sure NASCAR is going to like what they saw in that situation. Just a tough break for both drivers involved there. So then, all lead lap cars would then stay out at that point, with Ty Dillon actually deciding to come down and put on the option tire. Same with Allmendinger, Gillen, Stenhouse, and Nemechek. And then on the restart, you had Cristobal lead the field from the inside with Tyler Reddick on the outside, and Cristobal got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the race lead. Meanwhile, Ryan Preece was starting to charge his way up to the front and moved up to the outside with the option tires and was starting to charge his way up to the front and would get up to second position. And then eventually Ryan Preece caught up to Christopher Bell on lap 236 and was able to take the lead from him. And then as the run continued on, Ryan Blaney and Tyler Reddick were starting to have some mechanical issues and gremlins, but they would continue on. And then we were starting to see some green flag pit stops at this point. First, Chase Elliott, Todd Gillen would come down on lap 265. And then the next lap, everything would change once again. Bubba Wallace blew a tire going into the outside wall of turn number 1 and would have a brake rotor come off the car, bringing out the caution. William Byron was in contention, would get affected by a tough break for Bubba, who was starting to charge his way back at the front after kind of struggling early in the event. His day would come to an end because he would go to the garage. And then everyone would come down pit road with Cristobal winning the race off pit road, followed by Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano. And pretty much everybody took the option tire except Joey Logano. And then on the next restart, you had Cristobal lead the field from the inside with Denny Hamlin on the outside, and Cristobal got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the race lead, with Denny Hamlin being in second and Kyle Larson being in third. And it looks like Christopher Bell is going to pull out and get this win pretty much, but everything would change with 18 laps to go, 25 laps to go, and Ryan Blaney blew an engine coming off of turn number 3. A lot of smoke came out of the car after radioing he was having some of those issues. His day would come to an end after blowing the engine, bringing out the caution. Tough break for Ryan Blaney, who was having a really strong run. And then we would basically see, I believe, every single guy come down pit road. Well, a few guys came down: Cindric, Priest, Chastain, and Eric Jones, with Christopher staying out and majority leader staying out as well. So then on the restart, you had Christopher lead the field from the inside with Denny Hamlin on the outside, and Christopher got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the race lead. But Kyle Larson, who's been quiet most of the day, was charging his way up to the front and was using the outside and gaining on both Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell. But then with 8 laps to go, the final caution of the race would come out. Ty Gibbs had a tire go down and would hit the outside wall really hard in turn number 3 and 4, bringing out the final caution of the race. A bad start to the season for Ty Gibbs continues, just a bad day overall for Gibbs. His day would come to an end. And then we get to the final restart of the race, with Christopher Bell leading the field from the inside with Denny Hamlin on the outside. And Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell put on a really good battle and a really great show, and they stayed side by side. And coming to the white flag of the race, they'd be still side by side, with Bell having a little bit of an advantage with Denny Hamlin on the outside. Bell looks like he's going to clear going into turn number 1. He isn't able to clear going into turn number 1, and they would stay side by side going down the back straightaway. Hamlin would get the advantage. Going into turn number 3, they're still side by side. A little bit of contact, but pretty much clean. Racing balance side by side with a little bit of contact. No one gets put in the wall this time like yesterday with Eric Almirola and Alex Bowman. And coming down the front straightaway, Christopher Bell holds off Denny Hamlin by 49 1,000 of a second and picks up his 3rd straight victory of 2025, his 12th career NASCAR Cup Series win, and becomes the first driver to go 3 in a row since Kyle Larson in 2021. What an amazing finish. A clean, a fantastic way to end the race. Side by side, beating and banging, but no one got wrecked. It was a great finish. Fantastic finish of the NASCAR Cup Series race at Phoenix. It was pretty clean in my opinion. A very fair, a very fun, and great finish. Congratulations to Christopher Bell on going 3 in a row. This 20 team's unstoppable currently at the moment. I think Christopher Bell is a favorite to win the championship right now. He's been off to an incredible start. He'll be looking to go 4 in a row. We've not seen anybody do that since Jimmy Johnson in 2007. Bell's going to have a chance to do it because he's been so good at Las Vegas in the past. What an incredible start to the season for Christopher Bell. So now we'll go ahead and take a look at the race results, and I'll give my score and thoughts on today's race. So Christopher Bell picks up the win. Denny Hamlin finishes second. A great day for Denny Hamlin. Struggled early in the race, but they made that car a lot better and moved up to the front, ran top 10 most of the day, and comes home with a runner-up finish. Best run Denny's had so far this year. Great run for the 11 team. He finishes second. Kyle Larson finishes third. They were not that good in the beginning of this race, and at one point they were running like 15th or 20th position, but they got that car better, and they come home with a top 5 finish. They were really good on pit road. They've been struggling on pit road recently. They improved on that today, and Kyle Larson comes home with a very solid top 5 finish. Great day for Kyle Larson, and that's what you got to do if you're going to be contending for a championship. Josh Berry finishes 4th. Want to give him a shout out. He had a fantastic run today. Ran inside the top 10 all day long, came back from a penalty and a tire issue early in the race on pit road, and recovers to get a top 5 finish. This is one of the best runs Josh Berry has ever had, and I think the Wood Brothers are really showing they have a lot of potential. Best run I've seen the Wood Brothers have in ages. Great run for Josh. He finishes 4th. Chris Buescher finished 5th. Slowly, methodically moved his way up to the front and comes home with a very solid top 5 run. Great run for Chris Buescher. William Byron finished 6th. He had one of the strongest cars in the field, recovered slightly at the end. Just that issue of coming down pit road when the caution came out just cost him a shot at the win. He had a really good day though, led a ton of laps. I think he led the second most laps of the race. He finishes 6th. Alex Bowman finishes 7th. Almost got involved in a couple wrecks today and still comes home with a very solid top 10 finish in 7th. Great run for Bowman in 7th. Best run he's had at Phoenix in a very long time. Kyle Busch finishes 8th. RCR is showing a lot of improvement. Kyle Busch most of the day ran inside the top 10, top 15. They were terrible in the spring race last year. So I think RCR is really starting to show a lot of improvement, especially if you want to try to convince Kyle to stick around going into next year. A good run for Kyle. Not a great run, but he ran top 5, top 10 majority of the day. He finishes at 8th. Good run for Kyle. Zane Smith finished 9th. Solid run for the 38 team. Zane Smith's shown some promise at times this year. He comes home with, I believe, his first top 10 of the season. Good run for Zane Smith. Chase Elliott finished 10th. Disappointing day for Chase Elliott, but does end up with a really solid finish. They just never had the pace and speed. They were the weakest Hendrick car in the field, I will say. They just never really showed any sort of speed to contend for the win, but he does salvage a top 10 and 10th place. Good run for Chase Elliott. Ross Chastain finished 11th, was really good on the option tires, but the speed was never there in the second half of the race. He comes home with a 11th place finish. Austin Dillon finished 12th, not a bad day for him. Joe Logano finished 13th. If they saved their option tires, I think Logano could have had a car to win. They got put in a bad position after the penalty they received early in the race. Not a bad day for Logano, but it definitely could have been a lot better, especially with how fast he was. Unfortunately, the option stuff screwed him out of a shot at winning. John Henry Nemechek finishes 14th. Ryan Preece finished 15th. Good day for Ryan Preece, in all honesty. I know the tire strategy kind of put him in a bad position, but he led a ton of laps, showed a lot of grit today, was a driver that was fun to watch with the option tires throughout the event. He finished 15th. Ty Dillon finished 16th. That speeding penalty cost him a shot at a great finish. Todd Gillen finished 17th. Eric Jones finished 18th. Austin Cindric was up front at points and led a couple laps today. He finished 19th, and Tyler Reddick finished 20th. Reddick had one of the strongest cars, had that power steering issue at the end of the race. It cost him a shot at a great finish. He finished 20th. Just kind of a disastrous day overall for 23-11 as a whole. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finished 21st. AJ Allmendinger finished 22nd. Daniel Suarez, after a promising day, finished 23rd. Cody Ware finished 24th. Ty Gibbs finished 25th. The bad start to the season continues for Ty Gibbs. This goes all the way back to last year. Just not a great start to the year for the number 54 team. He finished 25th. Noah Gragson finished 26th. Michael McDowell finished 27th. Ryan Blaney, after his engine failure, finished 28th. Bubba Wallace finished 29th. Catherine Lake finished 30th. Shane Van Gisbergen, after getting caught up in the big crash, finished 31st. Cole Custer finished 32nd. Brad Keselowski finished 33rd. The bad start to the season continues for the number 6 team. Justin Haley finished 34th. Chase Briscoe, I thought was going to be a factor today, got caught up in that big wreck. He finished 35th. Carson Osbar finished 36th. And Riley Hurts finished last in 37th. So now, let's talk about the overall race as a whole, and I'll give you my score and thoughts on today's race. To be honest with you, this race wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it had some really good moments, and I think there was some decent racing throughout the field, but it felt at times like a very much atypical Phoenix race, especially when everyone was on the primary tire in the beginning of this race. You really could not make a lot of passes. It was still very difficult to pass in this race, and that's not just a next-gen issue, but it's a Phoenix issue. Phoenix is one of those tracks that is really, really difficult to pass. Now, that being said, it was a more intriguing race because he had the option tire and it kept me engaged throughout the event compared to other Phoenix races. I do think the option tire being at the track will help with the race if they do end up running it, which sounds like they may run it for the championship race. And I think the finish itself was honestly really, really good today as well. It was a fun finish, a close finish as well. If I had to give the score based on the whole entire race, I probably would give it about a 5.5 to 6 out of 10. I'm probably going to go to about a 6.5 out of 10 because, well, I think the finish, actually probably go to about 6.7 because, well, I think the finish was really, really good. The race is actually probably about a 7 out of 10, honestly, because I think the finish was really, really good, but the overall race itself wasn't that great. It didn't have that thing that really popped for me. It was a solid race, but not a spectacular race for Phoenix standards, but it was one of the more wilder Phoenix races we have probably seen in a very, very long time. Now, my thoughts on the option tire, I hope they use it again, the softer tire. I still think Phoenix, they need the track to wear out a little bit more before I think it works really well because it took a long time for the tire to kind of come in. I think that if they can kind of get that a little bit more wear, I think it's perfect. But honestly, I think the option tire worked a little bit and it made for a more intriguing and pretty fun race as a whole. So, that is going to be for the NASCAR Cup Series race review from Phoenix Raceway. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, and if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go below that and comment your thoughts below on today's race. Your thoughts on today's race, let me know below. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and congratulate Cristobal on winning on a great finish at Phoenix. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, you're going to see a NASCAR news video discussing news over the course of the last couple days. If there's any major news that does break early in the week, we'll discuss it live on the channel. We got some Dodge stuff to talk about. We've got some stuff around 2311 in Front Row Motorsports. We've also got some other stuff around other stuff that's been happening with Mexico City that's been rumored recently. On Tuesday, you're going to see this probably the intro to this video for the race at Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas. Content on people like Haley Dean, Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, among other people in the industry like Condos Those Junior Motorsports, Eric Almirola, Alex Bowman, Chandler Smith, Sheldon Creed, all the good stuff we'll be talking about on the channel coming up very, very soon. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.